Hello, everybody, and happy Tuesday. I hope you had a wonderful 4th of July. Thank you so much for joining us today. We actually had this webinar with Nona scheduled back in March, but she was called to jury duty in federal court. And when she let them know she had a speaking engagement, they told her that was not a reason to not show up for jury duty. So we had to reschedule it now. So I'm super excited. We had a lot of requests late at the end of last year, early at the beginning of this year, wanting to address the topics of burnout. So we had one speaker who addressed this a couple of months ago, and then we're having Dr. Nona talk about this as well. And I immediately thought about her when I met her at an event a couple of years ago, and I heard her speak on the topic of burnout. And I know that it's something that everybody faces, juggling your personal and professional lives, but I see it so much in chiropractic. So I really wanted to have somebody who's been there and then come out from it. So I'm super excited to have her on here today. Y'all, thank y'all for bearing with me. I got bit by a mosquito, or Mississippi as we call them, skaters, and I'm having an allergic reaction like no other at the moment. So I can barely breathe. My face is swollen, my back is swollen, but I can breathe. I just can't take my allergy medicine until this is over because it's going to knock me out for about 12 hours. So y'all are seeing my naked face with the current pinky rash all over it. So without further ado, I'm going to let Nona just kind of introduce herself. We're doing this from France, where she is on vacay with her kids because this was the only time we had available for her to jump in this year. So let me turn it over to Dr. Nona.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this webinar where I will be discussing avoiding burnout. First of all, I want to thank Christy Hudson and ChiroHealthUSA for inviting me to cover this topic. I think that Christy and ChiroHealthUSA, they are familiar with my journey as a chiropractor as I burnt out within the first 3 years of my practice. So I might have something to say about burnout because I've experienced it more than once, and I've been able to pull myself out of it. And then, of course, create the life and the practice or the businesses that are not just fulfilling, but also give me the freedom of time, space, money, and energy so that I'm not burning out and I'm not a slave to the businesses that I own. So, a little bit about me. I guess there's a lot I could tell you about myself. I can tell you that I run a mastermind for chiropractors called Part-Time $1 Million Mastermind. I have a membership club there where we talk about mindset and becoming a vibrational match for the next level of your business, next level of your life. It's called Elevate Club. You may have heard of that. I write for Forbes on a monthly basis. I'm fortunate enough to have been featured in Huffington Post, and I speak all over the world on chiropractic and non-chiropractic stages. Now, having said all of those things, of course, I'm also a single mom. I live here in Orange County. I got multiple businesses, all the things. But you know what? None of those are as important as actually the stories that have happened and the struggles that I have gone through to bring me to today here, sitting in front of you in this webinar and sort of discussing, sharing my story of burnout and hopefully helping and giving as much as I possibly can to those who are going through a similar experience. So I would like to pull up here's my contact information. If you at any point would like to reach out to me, I am super accessible. My email's on here. I'm on Instagram. Here's my website. If there's any way that I can support you in your journey, because I know what it was like to go through a practice in which I was a slave to it, and then creating freedom and the actual steps that I took. So I can relate to that, and possibly I might be able to help get you out of that if that is something you are experiencing, or if you want more freedom in your practice. So when I was putting this workshop together, I was looking for a picture, a photo that would describe the pain and the discomfort that I was in the first 3 years out of chiropractic school, because I couldn't find it. I was looking for a picture, a visual that would actually show you the pain and the discomfort and the deep depression and sadness and the unfulfillment that I was experiencing. And interestingly enough, you probably already know this, but typically when we take pictures, we're smiling and everything seems to be fine. Not only am I smiling in this picture and snuggling with my little dog, Juju, but also in those first 3 years, I was with a practice management group. I just started my practice and I was with a practice management group, and I was doing everything that they had me do. I mean, like all the scripts, all the systems, and I had a really big practice. On paper, it was an absolute dream. So to look at this picture, smiling with my little doggy, and to look at the numbers that I was making in terms of dollar amounts and the number of patients I was serving, you would have been like, you are out of your mind. Why would you not be happy with what you have? You're either ungrateful or there's something going on. What you don't see in this picture is the burnout that I was experiencing. What you don't see in this picture is that I almost got out of chiropractic because I felt in this picture because I cover it well, or maybe you can, but I was 35 pounds overweight. So all of those things are happening at the same time while I'm smiling in this picture. And I remember this particular photo that was taken of me is because I'm also laying on an ice pack because I had hurt my back from the pressure of running a practice that was successful, but underneath it all, feeling the burden of and the weight of this practice, pun intended, on my back. And so here I am. So that's sort of the journey that began in this process as I moved from burnout into creating a practice that was profitable, but also gave me freedom. One of the biggest lessons that I have learned, and I try to pass this on to my chiropractors, is that a profitable practice is not the same thing as a profitable practice that gives you freedom to live your life. I meet so many chiropractors. Most of us, we think that we work part-time. Well, I only work Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But then when you dig a little bit deeper, we're going into the practice on Tuesday, Thursday. We do admin work. We're working on our practices. We're stressing about it. We're answering phone calls. We're dealing with employees, whatever the case might be. We're not establishing practices that actually allow us to live our lives outside of the practice. And I see this with small practices, and I see this with high volume or just massively successful practices. And this is the point I want to make. The biggest lesson I learned was that a profitable practice is wildly different than a profitable practice that gives you freedom of time. And so over time, I learned, so in those first 3 years, as I burnt out, I was looking for a solution. I had to shift some things around, and I'm going to walk you through the 3 steps that I did that and I continue to do to create the next version of my life that has helped me avoid burnout. Now, I will preface this, pre-frame this whole workshop with, when I was putting this workshop together, I thought, you know what, you already know about self-care. You already know that you should be delegating. You already know that you should make sure that you put your vacations on your calendar. So I hope what I'm going to give you is going to be a bit of an outside the box or outside of the typical advice that we get when we say, hey, how do I avoid burnout? So bear with me as I walk you through this process, and I hope that it resonates with you. these are some of the things that I've been able to do. And these were born from burnout. And I took the 3 steps I'm going to share with you, the 3 principles that I took to heart and I accomplished all of these things with, as I built a part-time $1 million cash-based practice. So I decided from that practice that I had that I needed to put my life vision first, because I needed to be able to feel fulfilled so that I can give back to my patients. So I built a practice in which I would work 20 hours a week. If it was a solo doc, if I was a solo doc, or if I had an associate, my associate would work those hours. 20 hours a week, all cash, no insurance. I had a few PI cases and collecting $1 million or more in that business year after year. I launched an online weight loss program. I have 3 locations of a weight loss company, and then we launched it online. I currently, and even throughout the years, have been able to take weeks off of work, and currently take 1 week off of work to travel. I've been able to quantum leap my businesses in half the realistic time and work part-time and generate more abundance than I did when I was just in the hustle and leading to burnout. So I've been able to do these things and more. And the key here, the secret is, or the key distinguisher is to do these things with ease and not with the hustle, because the hustle is, and I know we have men that are watching this or listening to this, or we have females that are watching this, but the hustle, and too much of the hustle is too much in the masculine, and ultimately will lead to burnout. And so let's talk about some of the things. So these are some of this is like, when I look at this, I put this together. I had my assistant pull some pictures and I said, put a slide together that describes my life. And this is what she put together. And when I look at this looks like it was straight from my life vision. For me, my highest values, my family, my 2 little boys, and the ability to be able to travel with them and have the freedom to have an adventurous life and have the freedom to be able to do that, freedom both financially as well as time. So what are the 3 steps that I took in order to be able to create the life that I would like to create? So the very first step is having a vision. As a matter of fact, when I have chiropractors or entrepreneurs that I work with come to me and they say, I'm burning out, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm not getting results, whatever it is, any level of stuckness, I ask them, well, when was the last time that you were reminded by your vision? Typically, when you're tired, exhausted, and burnt out, either you are going after the wrong vision, right? And perhaps it's a vision that somebody told you, this is what it should look like. The $1 million practice, it should be part-time. It should look like this. It should look like that. And so you're following a path of someone else and it's not in alignment with you, or you have a vision that is not at the forefront of your mind. That vision might be really juicy, but if you're not thinking about it and you're not sort of looking to get there, and it's not in your proximity of your consciousness, then you're gonna also burn out, because it becomes task driven. It's not an inspirational movement where your vision is actually pulling you. You're sort of struggling and pushing the boulder up the hill. Or you have a vision and that is in front of your mind's eye, but it's not juicy enough. And so I want to make 2 points here on having a vision and creating a vision for your life and your practice. The very first point I want to make is one of the biggest lessons that I learned as a young chiropractor. Coming out of chiropractic school, I was told that your vision, I was told you go and you create your dream practice. What does your dream practice look like? And we all write down, oh, it's going to be filled with kids and I want to do this and I want to do that and it's integrative and blah, blah, blah. So you put all of that together, but rarely, and I think this is important, both, it sounds like it's important for female chiropractors, but it's also important for male chiropractors, but rarely do we sit down and get real with ourselves in terms of the kinds of, and write down and journal and contemplate on the kind of life that we want to live. because I could write out an absolute like 3 pages of what my dream practice, dream businesses would look like. But if that does not integrate, or it's not in alignment, can't work together with the kind of life that I want to create, well, then I'm in big trouble. Burnout is just steps ahead. So the biggest point I want to make, at least with regards to the vision, is you really have to make sure that, and I know it sounds kind of like, unpopular opinion, but you really need to make sure you have a vision for your life. What are some things you want to experience? How do you want to contribute to the world outside of your chiropractic practice? Do you like to travel? Do you like to spend time with your kids? Do you like to volunteer? You like to build an orphanage? Do you have other interests outside of your practice? What does life look like? And then creating a vision for your practice that will give you that life. Because here's the thing, I talk to so many chiropractors, and I think because of the brand or the messaging, I end up talking to so many chiropractors, both men and women, who are having a hard time in their practices, not because they're not successful, they're doing really well. They're having a hard time because they missed out on quality time with their kids. They want to be there for their children, but their children are grown up. They are burning out in their practices that are generating and providing for their family. They haven't been able to take a long vacation in a long time. They go away for a weekend or a long week, or like a long weekend or even a week, but they can't really walk away from their practice even when they have associates in place. So part of that is because they don't have a life vision. They've built a really massive beast of a practice and or part-time or somewhere in between, but it's not integrating well with the life that they want to live. So make sure you have a vision for your practice. And this is something I teach inside of my mindset membership club, which is called Elevate Club. You're more than welcome to check it out. In Elevate Club, I teach writing a life script and writing a practice script in which you set some really juicy stretch goals. And so what do I mean by that? By that, I mean you sit down and you set some juicy, okay, what do I mean? 3 types of goals that you could have, 3 types of visions that you could have. And I teach this and we walk you through writing a life script and a practice script in there, but I'll give you a bit of that. There's A-type goals, there's B-type goals, and there's C-type goals. All right. So A-type goals are goals that you have done before in the past and you can do it again. It's a vision that you've done in the past and you could do again. B-type goals are the types of goals that you haven't done in the past, but you know how to do it. All right. You can figure out the how. Now, I teach my people to set C-type visions for their practices and C-type visions for their life, because not only, what is a C-type goal? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. A C-type goal is something that you have no freaking idea how to get there. Okay, it is so juicy. Like this practice, this life, it just sounds so good. And it's so big that you have no idea on how. And that's the big distinguisher. You don't know how to get there. And that is important. And so I want you from this conversation right here, hopefully, to sit down and write some major C goals for your life and for your practice. Create a vision. And to write that down, no problem. It will take some time and some contemplation and some cutting down the distractions and assigning some time to do so. But the key here would be to repeat that practice vision that you wrote, to repeat the life script that you just wrote out on day-to-day basis so that your body, your neurology becomes familiar with it. And will you have moments as you do this practice, will you have moments where you're like, okay, I'm burnt out, I'm tired. And will you hopefully be reminded, and my voice will be in the back of your head, Will you be reminded, you know what, maybe I need to go back and take a look at my vision and get inspired by my vision, to get pulled by my vision, so that I don't feel like I'm just pushing and forcing things into happening. I'm sort of giving birth to these projects and the dream practice and the dream life, versus having to push and by force and trying to create something without that intentional vision that I have. So and you can evaluate your vision from time to time and add to it, reevaluate it, change it, whatever. But make sure it's juicy enough that when you read through that thing, you're fired up. And anytime there's a drop in your energy, you go back and you are reminded by your vision. Again, make sure it's juicy enough. All right, what is the second piece of the equation in making sure that you don't burn out in this process as you create your business, as you build it, as you grow your practice, and as you create the kind of life that you want to live? And I thought, okay, well, alignment, right? And this will tie into the third element really well, but you already know you should be delegating and only doing the things that are in alignment with you. I know most of us are chiropractors listening on here, so many puns intended in this conversation here. But make sure the things that you are doing, the tasks that are taking place, the projects you are taking on, the kinds of practice that you just wrote out in your vision, they're all in alignment. Not only that, again, I know we are told often to delegate so that you don't burn out. That's a very common, like, what Google would tell you, or any typical webinar would tell you, hey, listen, you need to delegate everything. Whoops, I just got a muscle cramp as I did this. But talk about alignment or being out of alignment, I need an adjustment. But delegation, yes, but also ask yourself, what can I do less of? Because I know all of us entrepreneurs and chiropractors, we want to help so many people, and a lot of us are type A personality, or we want more out of our life and more out of our businesses. And we think by doing more, we are going to accomplish more. By doing more, we are going to have more growth. And it's not always like that. It's not always like that. I'm telling you, because when I cut my hours and when I focused on what fills up my cup, and when I cut the things that were no longer in alignment, the more I eliminated out of my life, out of my business, whether it was people, events, experiences, tasks, it didn't matter. The more I eliminated of the things that were out of alignment, the more success I had. And you can define success however you want to. For me, success is growth. The more growth I had in my business, in my personal life, in my relationship with my partner, in the area of health, in the area of wealth, in all of it. So really sitting down and reevaluating the tasks, the experiences, the events, the people in your life, and determining what is in alignment with who you are and where you're going, what is not in alignment with who you are and who you are and where you're going. And eliminating that, because once you eliminate those things that are not in alignment, then you don't have that tied up energy with those types of things, which means it opens up so much space and energy for you to be able to put it into your practice, or put it into your life, or give it to your children, or give it to your partner, or give it to yourself, more importantly. So in that, when I after the first 3 years in practice, as I burnt out, and as I mentioned, I was like, I'm done with chiropractic, I'm leaving. Thank God I didn't. But in that year, I really sat down and I contemplated on everything, every system I had in my practice, every way of communication, every word that was coming out of my mouth or my CA's mouth. And this is a little bit more of the mechanics of the practice, but every paperwork, everything on the website, all of it, and sat down and evaluated everything from start to finish. And most importantly, I eliminated the things that didn't belong or that were not in alignment. And I will tell you, I have a podcast called Secret Lives of Expanders. And I interview some of the most successful chiropractors. I mean, big franchises, multiple locations, all of that. And I'll never forget some of the most successful chiropractors with multiple locations, what they would tell me the most important thing they did was to eliminate things, to simplify things, to systematize things. And I'll add to that. It's not just about elimination of the things that, obviously not working, but also eliminating the things that are energetically draining you, energetically not filling up your cup. So eliminating all of those as well. All right, so do less. That's the point of the second principle. Now, here is the third piece of the third principle on avoiding burnout in your practice and just really in life. We're gonna have to take action. I know inside of Elevate Club, we constantly talk about how to manifest and how to become a vibrational match for the things that you want in your life. But you also can't sit down and meditate and kick your feet up. You're gonna have to take action, all right? Now, I am going to go out on a limb and say there is right kind of action and there is wrong kind of action. And I can say that because I would be the first to tell you that I've taken all kinds of wrong action and therefore, stepped right into burnout as I did those things. So there are three kinds of actions. You're going to want to write this down. This is really important. It's been crucial in not just what I have done and eliminated some of these actions that I'm going to talk about, but recognizing the kinds of actions I've taken or continue to distinguish between the types of action. And I've seen my clients inside of Elevate Club, inside of Part-Time $1 Million Mastermind, take just this one piece and simplify and of course, quantum leap their practices with ease without leading to burnout. So there are three kinds of action you could be taking. The first kind of action are the scarcity-based actions. All right, I know you know what this is like. This used to be majority of the actions I would take. Have you had your numbers drop down a bit and then you become a bit more controlling at the front desk? Your CAs are like, get away from me. Like, I'm doing my job. You're like, where is so-and-so? And how's this going? And you become action oriented in a scarce time, and or because you are trying to get to the next level and you think you don't want to be stuck where you're at, you go, I'm going to make a to-do list. And I'm going to have a strategy. This is going to be my marketing. You come up with an action plan. Tony Robbins would call it the massive action plan. You do all of that and then you run. And those actions are based on scarcity because you're trying not to be over here and you're running away from this space of scarcity, the not enoughness, and you're running over to try to get to abundance. However, the more you do that, the more actions you take that are in scarcity. Well, will they give you results? Yes. Is it in the hustle energy? Absolutely. Will it lead to burnout? It has for me and for a lot of other chiropractors and entrepreneurs that I know. So determine the kinds of action that you are taking. If it's in the scarcity, then maybe move into the second category of action. So the second categories of action are inspired actions. They're not based on, oh my gosh, like I got to get out of this situation, therefore I got to take these actions. They're more like driven or inspired by the vision that you have over here. And so you'll end up taking inspired actions. And again, the chiropractic entrepreneurs we work with inside of Elevate Club and Part-Time $1 Million Mastermind, we have them write out the vision because everything goes from the vision, right? Or everything starts there or everything ends there, really. So if my vision is this, then what are the actions that are inspired and what are the actions that are aligned with this juicy C-type vision that I have over here that I could be taking? So ideally, you'll move away from scarcity actions into inspired actions. And then there's a third kind of action. And the third kind of action, and I hope this is not too woo-woo or out there for you guys, but I think it is helpful. And I think most of you will resonate with this. But the third kind of action are as if actions. If you're familiar with Neville Goddard's work, even Joe Dispenza kind of pulls from this, but they're as if actions. What are as if actions? Well, listen, this is a recommendation that I make to a lot of chiropractors I work with or healthcare providers, because as if actions are the actions that you would take as if you already are abundant, as if you already are living that dream life, as if that practice, that dream practice is already yours. So when you make decisions or take certain kinds of actions in your practice to take you to the next level, they could be scarcity or they could be inspired actions. But when you take actions, because that is who you are a vibrational match for that. That is who you are. You are that next level chiropractor, next level entrepreneur. Well, then guess what? That's just the kind of action that you take. And I'll give you an example. If you told me that I would like to double my practice, okay, what I would tell you is let's create a scenario in which that would look like, so you can feel what that would look like. So that might be cutting out your hours, that might be shortening your office hours, that might look like, shutting down for a few days and going on vacation and cluster booking all of your patients in that time chunk. Now you're at the vibration of a double of a practice. So now you know what it feels like. You're getting your neurology familiar with it. And so you're also, and if you decide that feels really good, I would like more of this, and you make the action or on your to-do list or as part of your strategy, you're making a decision based on where you want to go, not based on where you are. Then you would be like, I am going to set up my hours this way so that I feel this way. So you're making decisions based on where you want to go, not based on where you are. And those are as if actions. Those are the best kind of actions to take. Also, it puts you in a state of abundance. It puts you in a state of ease, in a state of joy and peace instead of scarcity. So taking actions based on the third kind of action, which is as if action. So just to kind of repeat and recap, the first action is scarcity actions. The second ones are inspired actions. And the third are as if actions. If I can get you to move from scarcity to inspired action, great. You can move a bit into as if actions, then you are golden. Okay, so there are actions, and this is the big difference, actions that will burn you out, and there are definitely actions that will help you quantum leap your practice and your life. And we talked about those. All right, so as I wrap up, I'm so grateful for, again, Christy and ChiroHealthUSA for inviting me to do this workshop on burnout. It's one of my favorite topics to chat about, because I think it gives me a chance to share the things that took me out of pain and brought me to where I'm at today and the life that I live right now. And so I'd like to give back in any way that I can. So if you're interested in joining Elevate Club, which is my membership, it's month to month. It is normally $97 a month, but if you go to elevate.me, which is ELIVATE.me, and you enter the promo code that's over here, ChiroHealthUSA, which is CHUSA, you are going to be able to check out Elevate Club for $37 for the first 3 months, and then it goes to $97. So, and you can cancel anytime. As a matter of fact, if it's not your jam, you send an email, or on the back end, you can cancel it yourself. What's in Elevate Club? Well, Elevate Club, on a weekly basis, I do a training on similar topics as we talked about, but really anything and everything that will help you shift your mindset to be able to quantum leap into that next level, to create more freedom, more juice in your life. So if you want more out of life, more out of your practice, then check this out. We also do monthly coaching calls. I mean, you can't get coaching calls for $97, but we do monthly coaching calls. And in those calls, you can bring in your questions. If you're integrating, say, some of the things we talked about today, and you're stuck with, I don't know what my C goal, how do I get past this? Or there's an area that you have a hard time integrating or practicing in your life, then you bring that into the coaching calls and we'll discuss that and go after that. I also put on retreats, and as an Elevate member, you get discounts and first dibs on the retreats. And we do quarterly workshops inside of Elevate Club on 3 topics, mainly wealth, improving your wealth, quantum leaping your wealth, quantum leaping your health, as well as quantum leaping your relationship. So basically, if you want squeeze more juice out of the life and the practice that you have currently, this would be a great start, in my opinion. And if it's not, no questions asked, you can jet out of Elevate Club. Again, thank you so much for having me, Christy, and ChiroHealthUSA. Feel free to connect with me on Instagram. I don't know if I have. Here is a quote I always say inside and outside of Elevate Club. If you want something totally different, wildly different, you're going to have to do something wildly different. And that brings us to the end of the presentation. Again, thank you so much for having me. I love being with you guys. I love giving back. If there's anything I can do to help you, just connect with me on Instagram, send me an email, and I am happy to see if I can help. Thank you, guys.
All right, so we're gonna wrap up a little early. Y'all know my rules. Oh gosh, y'all, my hair. Sorry. Y'all know my rules, which means take a deep breath. If you've got 5 to 10 minutes before you have to go back to treating patients, rest, keep that door closed. Don't let your team know you're wrapping up your webinar early, because you got to take time to breathe and just focus on you. Just a reminder, our next webinar is on August the 8th. I just put the link up here so that you guys can just go and look. We've got all the webinars for August and 2 of the 3 for September already up on the website. We'll be adding October and November here real soon. Thank you, Dr. Lawless. I'm definitely going to do that. I'm going to go take my allergy medication, which I never take, but I need it today. And I'm going to go take a nap and probably wake up till tomorrow. But if you email me, Christy@ChiroHealthUSA.com, rest easy. I will email you back tomorrow. I just want to thank y'all so much for taking time out of your busy Tuesday to share it with me and my special guests that we bring to you every week. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day and a fabulous week. And I will see you guys in a month. So y'all have a great time. And again, keep sending me your feedback. Let me know who you want to hear from, what you want to hear about. I've been getting some really interesting topic suggestions, and I'm on the hunt for people. So we have some really fabulous people coming up in the next couple of months. So thank you, guys. Talk to you soon. Bye, y'all.